Well, my favorite memory of the Sears are probably if I had $1 for every time I let them in their office or into a certain room, I'd probably be a millionaire right now because they're always losing their keys. So wherever, a warning to wherever you're going, be sure you have your keys on hand because you're going to be letting in their office more than once.
I found the Sears always to welcome us at Berkshire Citadel and really considered us to be part of Berkshire Citadel, considering the fact that we farewelled from Berkshire a number of years ago and went to training college.
One of the biggest things that I'll remember, and Sue as well, because we've talked about it many times, is how you both and your family really helped out with Adam and Lotta's wedding.
Some of my favorite memories are around the campfire, and especially our times out at Forget-Me-Not Pond. I think one of my favorite memories is when we were sitting around the campfire and Catherine got up and led us in some singing and some games, and wow, that was just wonderful.
Catherine to this day still runs up and gives me a big hug, tells me she misses me. That's nice all the time. I distinctly remember back when she was younger, she used to use me as a jungle gym. I remember trying to talk to Elizabeth in the basement, and Catherine somehow managed to climb all the way from my foot on top of my head using my belt loops as climbing holds.
When I first started, one night they invited me over to their house for dinner, and we all sat down, and it was just really cool because they just made me made me feel like I was part of the family, and we all had dinner, and jokes were exchanged around the table, and John was there, and well, he is part of the family now anyway, but it was awesome just to feel so welcome, and when it was so new.
One of my first memories of Nathan is the first summer they were here. I was working at Pine Lake, and it was officers camp, and mostly I just remember this blonde little kid who challenged me to a Star Wars trivia contest, and he lost. No, Nathan, you lost.
Nathan, I remember going on the Cub Scout camping trip, and we went to Allenville Pond to stop on the way back home, and a couple of Rottweilers were running outside, and I remember narrating what the Rottweilers were thinking while their owners threw around a stick, and Nathan just in stitches.
You lost.
Emily, I remember in the basement throwing around a Jessie doll, wiggling the arms around wildly, made her laugh like crazy.
She used to bring Jaden to the youth group, and I guess they were involved in this the singing part of it, which was one of Jaden's favorite activities, was singing, and he totally enjoyed that and loved Emily.
Hiking in Banff with Pastor Stephen and with Nathan and Catherine, and then a couple youth was pretty rad too.
I took Elizabeth to my high school prom. A lot of good memories with the whole family. I remember promising Stephen for Father's Day I'd cook him a steak. I still owe you, buddy. Gail, we went shopping back when I did that surprise birthday party for Elizabeth. You took me to Costco and showed me how to really shop using coupons. I appreciate that. Comes in handy in my everyday life as well.
The choirs that somehow we got roped into. Sue was keen for them, but I'm not sure my voice was that great, but we had fun doing it, and the fellowship.
Well, the first time we ever met them is something that's still very striking. We just moved here from Nigeria, and we're taking a walk down Sandra Drive, just going down to a friend's place, and then I see this guy coming down in uniform, and I kept, was nudging my husband, that guy's a salvationist, that guy's a salvationist.
And I was thinking, who's this cop with a Bible? It turns out it wasn't a cop, it was a guy from Salvation Army.
And I know, I just shout, hallelujah, and then he responds. Apparently he'd also be looking at our kids for us to send them. I was thinking, oh, what nice kids, and then he saw the parents, behind. So every time I'm thinking, how, it's not coincidence, I think it was planned that we would continue attending the Salvation Army when we moved here.
When we received our notice, our appointment to come to Calvary, and immediately, it was very gladly assumed that Berkshire would be our home core.
One of my favorite memories of the Sears is when we were doing the Christmas pageant, and Emily and Elizabeth were both playing the parts of Elizabeth and Mary in the story. And so when we had dress rehearsal, Gail was there, and when she had seen for the first time, both girls had big pregnant bellies. And Gail suddenly freaked out. She's like, "Oh no, it's my worst nightmare. Both my daughters pregnant at the same time." So she thought that was really funny. And she actually was great, because one time one of them was missing from the rehearsal, and she took the big belly and she put it in herself, and she was hamming it up. But she was lots of fun during the Christmas pageant.
The Pine Lake camps, I know Sue went to the ladies with you, Gail, and had fun, and she had some stories that I can't repeat on video.
And also being able to come to our home corps that we went to training college from, and to be able to receive our 25-year pin as officers, and to have our celebration here at our home corps was just absolutely amazing.
The women's Saturday morning breakfasts have been awesome. I've enjoyed every one of them. It's always really good food, and usually a really good speaker, always a good speaker, so that's been excellent too.
I think my favorite memory of Gail is the first women's breakfast that I attended. And it was at that breakfast that I realized just how much she cares for the women of our church.
Gail is my BFF ever. She's amazing, and there's so many memories, but I like the first year when we're here too. I remember the Thursday morning women's fellowship, and she made it very, very interesting, and was such a blessing. It was something for me to look forward to, and also an occasion for both of us to catch up on life in general and the kids and family.
I remember doing the Alpha marriage when you both asked Sue and I if we could help with that, and we had fun, and hopefully we helped some people along the way.
Pastor Sears was very involved with Taryn and Joel. They would go to Callaway Park and they would do this kind of stuff. So he really did become an extension of my family anyways, in the father position.
And I remember within the first 2 weeks that I started attending the church, he organized a kind of a fellowship with all the men, which we met in the house, and I was introduced to everybody. They got to know me, and since then I've found this place as a kind of a spiritual root for us here in Calgary.
Stephen and I had lunch together when I had told him that I was interested in being reinstated as a soldier in the Salvation Army, and he spoke to me at lunch, and he said, "I have a ministry for you. I have a vision of ministry for Berkshire," and he says, "and I want you to be part of that ministry." And I said, "You don't know me, and yet you're offering me this opportunity to be part of ministry." And he says, "Well, I do know something about you." And then he started to tell me about my history with the Salvation Army, I was so amazed.
Oh, going on our Kananaskis tours, and I loved his laugh. He'd hear something, and the hugs.
Gonna give him a big hug.
That's some of my favorite memories.
I think the biggest thing that we'll miss about you, the simplest thing, is you. We'll miss you.
Yeah, I think I'm going to miss their encouragement and their just the joy of ministering here.
I'll miss their leadership. I'll miss their friendship. I'll miss the way they just take you in and accept you and teach you.
For us, I think what we will miss most about the Sears is their pastor's heart.
I just think of the way that Gail and Stephen have thrown themselves into wholeheartedly caring for people and loving people.
They were really good to me when Toby was sick and passing away. They were so supportive, and I don't know where I'd have been without them.
And I'm going to miss Gail because she makes me cry. And you wouldn't think that's a good thing, but it is. I rarely let myself cry, and Gail has won my trust and made it so I can be vulnerable before her.
I will miss her arm around my shoulders at the mercy seat when she came and said, "Is there something I can pray with you for?"
I feel like I'm losing a set of parents, absolutely. They are amazing. I love them so much.
So we're going to miss that relationship. We're going to miss the friendship that he has established.
I will miss their friendship most. Like I said, they lived right around the corner, so it was a real good support for me.
Yeah, being able to call Gail up when I have a question, being able to just say, "I'm coming out to hang with you."
I'll miss their friendship and their support when you need it.
I think they're very practical and very truthful, so you know, sometimes you don't always hear everything you want to hear, but it's something that will minister to you and it will help you in your situation.
She's really got down to the depth of my heart and challenged me about the things I need to get right with God.
The one thing I'll miss about Stephen is his smile. He has this smile that just doesn't quit.
The good times we had chit-chatting in the office about various things, both humorous and spiritual.
I'm going to miss the way his eyes lit up when he talked about scouting and young people.
He spent his time for us. I mean, to really make sure that our children integrated into the church.
I'm going to miss all the fun camps. Thanks for making Sunday school in Beavers.
You truly are generous with what you have, the time that you give to people, to what you've given to our family, our children, to Sue and myself.
He's been an amazing pastor and a wonderful example to my kids, and just really loved our family very much.
I guess I'm going to miss, having a family. They were a big part of my life. I met them when I was 14 or 15 and basically grew up together for a good portion of my life, and I'm forever grateful for all the times we had together and the lessons that I learned.
I'll miss their children. I love their children, all of them. Awesome children, really nice family.
Nathan, he's such a character. He's awesome. Elizabeth, she's just been so reliable with youth and just great to chill with.
I'm gonna miss Lizzie and Catherine being Catherine,
because she always sometimes plays with us in the morning at church.
Catherine running up and giving me a big hug when we haven't seen each other in a while.
Catherine, she's just a ball of energy. She's amazing. And Emily, just the few times that I've hung out with her, she's always smiling and just encouraging.
I'm going to miss Nathan helping me with my classes.
I'm going to miss Catherine because she's a part of our family, and Lizzie with her being part of worship, and Emily as well, and Nathan and Cameron haven't perhaps been so much in my life, but I know they've really been in my kids' lives as well.
Emily,
Yeah,
and
we're gonna miss
and Mr. and Mrs. Sears giving us free rides home because we're too lazy to take the bus, and
We're gonna miss a lot.
Yeah, we're gonna miss a lot.
They've been part of my family, so that's what I'm going to miss.
I'm going to miss them all. It's like losing a family for sure.
It was definitely nice to have somewhere to go other than my house after school.
Gail, we're going to just miss so much with your wonderful efforts in the kitchen and the family, of course, in our Sunday school class.
That's the truth, actually. I will miss them on Tuesday nights big time. They are huge.
I'll just miss them because you grow to be familiar with all these people, and then they leave, sort of a little bit heartbreaking.